Welcome back to Exposing Human Trafficking. I want to let you know a little bit more about what Brad Pitt is really like. When I was having my nervous breakdown at 22, I was living in Florida and Brad was in LA. Um, he had finished filming Thelma and Louise, and I needed to get therapy because of all the abuse I'd been through. I was very depressed, I was suicidal, I was confused, I was here, there, and everywhere. I couldn't concentrate, and I was basically falling apart. Um, my mom had said that psychologists and psychiatrists were for crazy people, and we didn't tell our problems to other people. And I was afraid to go by myself because I didn't know what they would do to you. I didn't really trust anybody, except for Brad, which was a big mistake. Brad, the doting fiance, suggested that he could be in on those therapy sessions over the phone. And he was so convincing. He should have gotten the Academy Award back then because he had convinced a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a psychiatric nurse, and myself that he loved me. So every Tuesday at 11 o'clock, Brad would call in and we'd have our therapy sessions. That's how he brought Julian in. That's in another video. Because of the damage that had been done to me, I needed hypnosis. And so Brad convinced the doctors that since he was planning for me to go back to LA and we were supposed to get married and live happily ever after, that he should know how to hypnotize me in case I had some kind of meltdown or episode. And this way he could stabilize me long enough to get me into a mental hospital. So Brad chose the trigger word, and I was 22, so there was no need for parental consent or, my parents, my mom didn't know anything about what was happening. And they taught Brad how to hypnotize me. Now, with hypnosis, the way it works in a clinical setting is you look at a particular specified object, and there's a trigger word that's used, and that'll put you immediately into a hypnotic trance. This was a huge mistake because now Brad had access to my subconscious. After a year into our relationship, Brad decided that he wanted an open relationship, because he's Brad Pitt. Come on now. Son of a bitch. And then at the 2-year mark for 4th of July, he decided he wanted to declare his independence from me. So I was completely destroyed when he left, and the doctors had to deal with just one more trauma in my life. After Brad finished Legends of the Falls, he came back to my house in Florida. He was all excited. He said, "I came back to get you just like I promised. I made it." And then he said that he was a Satanist and that he was sorry that the ritual was so bad, that he had traded me for fame, and that he wanted to finish the ritual, which is sodomy. And I said no. But he also said that when he was calling in to my therapy sessions, that my older half brother, George Bermudez Jr., who was the human trafficker, that he was listening to all my therapy sessions. So that meant that now my human trafficker knew about the hypnosis, the object, and the trigger word. And also, while I was in therapy, someone had broken into the doctor's office. They were looking for my files, but they were locked up in a safe. And someone had stolen the hypnotic object. The doctors had replaced it, but they had it. Over the years, Brad came back with that same object, trying to lure me, trying to get me to go with him to finish the ritual. But luckily, somebody always saved me. They came in, interrupted or something, and he couldn't finish doing all the hypnosis. Now, on August 7th, 2018, at 11 o'clock, it was a Tuesday, I was singing outside of the alley cantina. I was busking in Taos Plaza. And Brad Pitt showed up in disguise. He usually goes out in public in disguise, so he's not recognized. He had on a gray wig that was all one length, and sunglasses and a jacket. He had the object for hypnosis. He used a trigger word. And he broke all the healing that the doctors had done. Now, the doctors had said that when I fell apart the first time at 22, it was as if they had to re-knit a sweater to put me back together again. This time, Brad had cut that sweater into many pieces, and the threads were now unraveling. So it took a while, and I was slowly unraveling. He also gave the object, the hypnotic object, and the trigger word to other Satanists that would come up to me. And on the night of January 11th, 2019, they had broken into my home. They had put some kind of drugs in my cookies that I kept next to my bed. And Brad gave the hypnotic object and the trigger word to Tom Hickey, the serial rapist of Chatsworth. They broke into my home so that they could sexually assault me again and make more films. Brad also went on to sodomize me. After Brad was done sodomizing me, he said he had HIV, and if he couldn't have me, no one would. My stepbrother, George Bermudez Jr., said that Tom Hickey had AIDS and that they were giving me AIDS. Thankfully, there's a goddess out there that protected me, and I didn't get it. But that's what Brad Pitt is all about. He doesn't care about anybody. He only cares about what he wants. What he wanted was to finish the ritual, and they want me to join their coven. Their satanic coven because of the bloodlines. So this is another tactic that they use. So please share this with others. You can usually tell when someone's in a hypnotic state because the eyes they're off, they're like glazed over. And they're just not responding the right way. Thankfully, the therapist I have now, we've been able to work a lot of things out, and that hypnotic word and the object no longer work. And I'm getting back together as best as we can. So if you like it, give it a thumbs up, comment below, and let there be not one more victim of human trafficking. Thank you.